What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Quarry having 186 different endings. Now, that probably is somewhat misleading, and I'm not, calling BS on their statement or, that they're outright lying. It's not, in my opinion, and it won't be literally 100. Well, technically, it will be 186 different things that different endings that can happen, but those include very, very small little variables, small little factors like dialogue that can or cannot be in it. That's what they're talking about. They did, obviously, this month, and we're approaching the end of the month, is the Quarry is doing the IGN first feature, right? So they have a bunch of gameplay, they have a bunch of interviews and behind the scenes kind of stuff like that. And depending on what day you guys are watching this video, they did an interview with the Quarry's director, and he talked about pretty much how they write the script, how they keep the decisions, and I guess literally the decisions you make in the game. How does that work? And it's a pretty interesting read if you guys want to get. It's just on IGN. It's just it's an article. And what I found kind of interesting, besides, well, the main thing was the 186 endings. We'll get there in a second. But the other thing I found interesting is almost a cheat code thing that they do, and they admitted it. They fully, own up to it. What they do to kind of make the process easier on themselves is split characters up, put them in groups of mainly 2, so that there's a lot of things that can happen with those 2 in terms of dialogue, and those dialogue options can, or how they answer and stuff like that, that will change based off the decisions you make, but it's only impacting the 2 that you're with. And the reason why they split them up generally in groups of 2 or just small groups in general is so that those ripple effects do not make their way too far to the entire story, right? Except for major decisions. Major decisions are obviously different, but those smaller things, so that they don't have to, it just becomes too much, basically, is what I'm saying. And that's what the article kind of provided, as you would probably imagine. This is actually, and this is maybe something people actually don't care about, but this is what I've said in the past about these kind of games. I love these games, these kind of Telltale games. Obviously, Life is Strange 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. Many Supermassive games. Until Dawn was phenomenal. This game looks incredible, right? One thing I've talked about is we still haven't. We really haven't. Even like Quantic Dreams, Detroit Become Human, which was really good, and that was a pretty good showing of what you can do with all of these ripple effects in terms of decision making. But we've never had a game where truly every decision that you make does something. It affects something in the wider scope of the game. The entire game will change because you make a decision. That would be so difficult. That would be the biggest undertaking of all time. You would need something magical, maybe like 10 years with a huge development team to make that happen, right? So I'm not, but this is not like putting them down. This is not putting the genre down. This article kind of explains almost why they have to do it the way that they do it, and it is a good compliment to my discussion, right? Where it's like, yeah, they don't do that. For people that, like they really try as many tricks as they can to make decisions feel like they matter, and they do in that moment, and with maybe a set of characters long term, but only a select few decisions matter for the entire game. And so, again, just from like a behind the scenes, how the game is made, that's an interesting thing to me. I find that fascinating. I get it, because the reverse, again, doing it the most magical way possible is like next to impossible, or impossible as of at least right now. So it's just fun to kind of see how they try to limit it but make it feel, more impactful, stuff like that. And again, that goes into the ending. So IGN, I'm sure even my video, right? Like these titles, 186 different endings. Again, there will be a all good ending where everybody lives. There will be an all bad ending where everybody dies. There will be everything in between of certain characters living. So, and again, I think that has really expanded. I think they've done a really good job of that, Supermassive, with even the Dark Pictures anthology, where they've expanded. Even with like Until Dawn, there was only so many ways it could go, so many different groups. Obviously, everybody had set circumstances where they could die or they couldn't die, right? Some characters basically were bulletproof for 75-80% of the game. No matter what you did, they'd be fine, and then only in certain circumstances. So, and it's still like that generally, but they have gotten better. So of those 186, Is it really 186 variations of one person dies while the other doesn't? No, that number wouldn't come from that. But again, that's where those outside decisions go in terms of how characters treat each other, how characters act, their personality, in terms of how they handled, the day, the night, the events that we're dealing with in the Quarry. So that's what they're talking about with the 186 different endings. Still awesome. This is not kind of like to put it down. This is an exciting thing. The Quarry is that next benchmark. I hope that Supermassive sets for themselves, right? Even if it's, I don't know, like it may not be as good as Until Dawn. At least in my head, Until Dawn still very much holds up and is an incredible game. But I think a lot of these, like decision making, different variations of what can happen with certain characters, this should be the new standard, where it's like, okay, this is where Supermassive is. Look at how much they've continued to branch out and let decisions actually matter, and then we can go from here for The Devil in Me and the rest of however many more they'll do of the Dark Pictures after. I think there's like 4 more after that, right? So we'll see what happens from there. But this hopefully is that benchmark, with or without it, quality-wise. If it's better than Until Dawn or if it's worse, it doesn't really matter. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, all my social media, as always, is in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.